Chapter 10, Olympians. P.U. Something stinks, Zeus said woozily. It's you, said a girl's voice. I've already bathed in the waterfall. Zeus remembered that voice, the girl with the long golden hair. Suddenly, everything came back to him. He leaped to his feet, looked around for the Titans. It was morning. He was at the bottom of the hill, surrounded by enormous boulders and trees. He slid a long way from where the Titans had built their fire. King Cronus and the others were nowhere in sight. He sniffed himself. The stink was definitely him. Ugh. At least he was finally free of the Thunderbolt. He looked around again, making sure it wasn't sneaking up on him or anything. Was it still in Cronus's belly? Or... So he's finally awake, asked the boy's voice. Zeus turned his head to see a boy with turquoise eyes coming towards them. The girl and the boy were both about his age, as far as he could tell. You wouldn't be Poseidon by any chance? Zeus asked the boy. Who wants to know? Asked the girl, but the boy nodded at the same time. Yeah, I am, and she's Hera. Yes, said Zeus, pumping a fist. Yes, said Zeus, pumping a fist. Despite all that had gone wrong, he'd managed to succeed in his first quest. He'd followed the cone stone and found Poseidon. Turned out Poseidon was a kid, not his dad. It was disappointing, but finding his parents would just have to wait. What's your name? Hera demanded. Zeus. Hera and Poseidon gave each other a startled look. Isn't that the name Cronus called out before he swallowed the cone stone? Poseidon started to say. Hera elbowed him before he could finish. Swallowed what? Zeus asked. Hera put on a fake kind of smile. Oh, nothing. How did you find us anyway? I was sent here to rescue you by an oracle, and by this... Zeus lifted the cheap amulet that hung around his neck. Poseidon stepped closer to examine it, then fanned his face. Maybe you should take a shower before we talk. He pointed towards the waterfall beyond some trees nearby. Quickly, Zeus went to bathe in the waterfall and wash his tunic. Afterwards, he put his wet tunic and sandals back on. When he returned to his companions, he explained everything. He told them all that happened to him since leaving Crete, including how Pythia had called him a hero in training. Well, she sure got that wrong, Hera scoffed. Gosh, don't try to spare my feelings or anything, said Zeus. No, I just meant, she glanced at Poseidon. Think we can trust him? Poseidon shrugged. Your call. Hera studied Zeus intently, then shook her head. No, I don't think we'll trust you quite yet. You could be one of Cronus's spies. I'm not, Zeus insisted. You can prove it to us then, she said. How? There were 3 more of us in prison in Cronus's belly, Hera told him. Hestia, Demeter, and Hades. We escaped, but the Titan giants made off with the others. If you help us rescue them, we'll tell you a secret. A big one. They'd been captive in a belly for 10 years. What kind of secrets could they know? Wondered Zeus. King Cronus said you're Olympians. What's that? He asked. We don't actually know, Poseidon replied, but it's something the king is afraid of, added Hera. So that must mean we have some kind of magical powers. If only we knew how to use them, said Poseidon. With a loud rumble, the ground next to them suddenly split open. Zeus, Hera, and Poseidon jumped back. A cloud of glittery mist appeared. Pythia's face glowed within it. It's her, it's the oracle I told you about, Zeus exclaimed. Trouble, trouble, boil and bubble, the oracle murmured. You must find the trident. One that will point the way to those you seek. One that, in the right hand, has the power to defeat the king of the kings, creatures of chaos. As quickly as the mist appeared, it disappeared again. Huh? Which hands are the right hands? Asked Poseidon. Probably mine, Zeus and Hera said at the same time. Zeus rolled his eyes. He'd grown up around girls, but the nymph, the bee, and the goat who'd raised him had always let him have his way. He had a feeling this girl was going to be different. Come on, let's go, Poseidon said. See that hill over there? Maybe if we climb to the top, we can figure out which way to go. So we're supposed to find a trident, said Zeus as they started to walk. Shouldn't be too hard. Hera and Poseidon nodded. The 3 continued on for a bit without saying anything. Finally, Zeus said, one question, what's a trident? Hera and Poseidon both shrugged. No idea, they admitted at the same time. Well, I do know that try means three, says Hera. Like us, says Poseidon. There are three of us. It wasn't much of a clue. Zeus frowned. How were they going to find the trident when they didn't even know what it was? An hour later, they reached the top of the hill. Hera gasped. Look! On the distant horizon, they saw land's end. Beyond it, the entire sea was boiling. Zeus felt his skin prickle. He repeated the oracle's words, trouble, trouble, boil and bubble. Then he added, I have a feeling that's where we'll find the trident. Our journey could be dangerous, though, and are we up for this? Hera lifted her chin. Of course. Poseidon nodded, but he looked a little nervous. I hope the trident's not in the sea. I don't know how to swim. Overheard, the clouds darkened suddenly. The air crackled. Uh-oh. Zeus knew what that meant. But before he could warn his friends, kapow! The Thunderbolt was back. It stood before him, crackling and sparkling. He started to run downhill trying to get away from it. The bolt chased him. Small, Zeus commanded, breathlessly coming to a stop at the bottom of the hill. In a flash, the Thunderbolt shrank to the size of a dagger. It hovered in the air before him, darting around as if he wanted to be held. Zeus thrust his hands under his armpits so that the bolt couldn't get to them. It buzzed around him, looking for a way in. Finally, seeming to give up, it slid under the belt at the waist of his tunic. At least it hadn't managed to get stuck in his hand again. Good bolt, said Zeus, as Hera and Poseidon caught up to him. Stay. Poseidon's eyebrows went up in awe. You have a thunderbolt as a pet? Seems like it, said Zeus. Come on, let's go. Let's get going. Hera rolled her eyes. Who made you boss Thunderboy? Thunderboy, Zeus echoed. He liked the sound of that. But beyond the hill, he could feel the sea calling to him, could feel his destiny beckon. Follow me, he said more firmly, and to his surprise, they did. With long, confident strides, he led the others towards the boiling sea. The end.